Good morning, Sangha. Thank you so much for joining us this Sunday morning, and happy Father's Day to those that celebrate. Every Zen teacher has their own style, and I've come to understand my style tends to be about helping others suffer less through my own personal experiences. So, with that in mind, I'd like to share with you some experiences I've had recently. And while I never thought that officiating weddings would be on my bingo card, that's what the universe has brought me. And it has truly been an honor to be a part of those weddings and to share some of the wisdom that Buddhism has to offer. When sitting with what to say at these weddings, having never officiated a wedding or never been trained to do anything like that, impermanence came to mind. And it might seem funny to some to speak of impermanence at a wedding, especially since the majority of the folks at the wedding were Christian. My understanding of impermanence is that it is both unavoidable and radiant. And it was my hope that pointing to impermanence might help them appreciate what is in the moment and to expect change and to be able to grow together through the wisdom of change. Can we continue to meet our loved ones in every moment as they are on their path to fully becoming their authentic selves? Or do we choose to cling to the version that they once were and suffer impermanence? Many people fear impermanence because they think it threatens love. But in Buddhism, impermanence is what makes love so precious. When we truly understand impermanence, not just intellectually, but really understand it to our bones, it changes almost everything. We begin to suffer less because we stop expecting impermanence. We stop expecting permanence from an impermanent world. And beyond reducing suffering, impermanence changes the way we live. We become more present. We love more deeply. We can live more fully. When we understand that this moment will never come again, we pay attention. Realizing how ordinary and extraordinary every moment is, every conversation, every cup of tea, every breath of air. Impermanence teaches us not to wait for special moments. This moment right here is already special, exactly the way it is. Master Dogen spoke to impermanence, and he may be the greatest Zen teacher of impermanence. And I really like his teaching on firewood. Master Dogen said, firewood becomes ash, and it does not become firewood again. Firewood expresses itself as firewood fully. It fully expresses itself as firewood. Ash fully expresses itself as ash. Neither is defective, neither should be something else. We often think that life is happening to us, but Dogen suggests something more radical. Life is not something that exists and then changes. Life is the change. And if change is not what's happening to life, but is life itself, what exactly are we resisting? Impermanence can pull us out of autopilot. If we knew our loved ones would be here forever, we might postpone affection. We might postpone forgiveness or gratitude or showing the affection that we can. But because we know they won't always be here, our hearts naturally soften. With impermanence, we become less attached. This doesn't mean caring less. It means clinging less. Something I said at both of the weddings that I spoke at was I quoted Thich Nhat Hanh, and he said, "You must love in such a way that the one you love feels free." I say, free to change, free to become, free to be. When we are less attached to the idea of permanence, we're able to stop demanding. Stop demanding that our bodies remain young, or that our children remain children, or that our relationships never change. That life, we stop demanding that life unfold according to our plans. And this one is something I speak to folks about all the time. People come to me dysregulated, upset, and often because things didn't go the way they thought they would, or perhaps the way they would have done it, or things just didn't turn out the way one expected. And they're suffering change. They're simply suffering change. With the appreciation for impermanence, we are able to begin meeting reality with greater flexibility and less judgment. Accepting what is in this moment. Something I really, really appreciate and love about impermanence is the interconnectedness. It's one of the most beautiful aspects of impermanence. When we look deeply, we see that nothing exists independently. Everything arises because of countless causations and conditions and just is. Hmm. Hmm. I am eating the sun. I'm eating the clouds that made the rain, the earth, the seed, the tree. All of this came together to make this sweet, juicy, ripe pear that is now a part of me. I am the sun. I am the earth. I am the air. I am the pear. Thich Nhat Hanh spoke to impermanence. And he says that thanks to impermanence, everything is possible. And he referred to impermanence as interbeing. Thanks to the impermanence of a seed, a tree grew. Thanks to the impermanence of a blossom, a pear grew. Thanks to the pear growing and becoming sweeter, I'm able to enjoy it. Nothing stands alone, and everything belongs. When we understand impermanence, life becomes sacred. Not because it lasts forever, because it doesn't. With all that said, people do suffer impermanence. Maybe they don't want to age. Maybe they don't want their children to grow up and move away. Maybe they're upset because their partner isn't the same exact person that they originally fell in love with. The suffering comes not because of the change. The suffering happens because we are not accepting the change. The change is always happening. The suffering comes from the resistance to the change, thinking that things should be different than they are. And when this happens, and it's met with awareness, when the suffering happens, and then awareness steps in, that becomes our doorway to wisdom, it becomes our teacher. My father has become very ill over the last 6 months or so, with many long hospital stays. And because I know I have little time with him, and because Alzheimer's is changing him every day, I'm able to see him as the miracle that he truly is. And I'm not saying that it's not difficult. I'm not saying that I don't sometimes think I wish he could go quickly like my mother and not suffer. But accepting that this is his journey and my journey with him, and appreciating that this is not permanent. I value my time with him. And yet I know that when he passes, he will never really be gone. He lives within me and always will. We are interconnected throughout space and time. Same for all of my loved ones and all those that I care for, I carry with me and always will. When we understand impermanence, we stop trying to hold on to life and begin learning how to bow to it. And today I'm going to leave you with a question. If tomorrow wasn't guaranteed, how would you act today? Thank you, everyone.